Okay, please finish your submission and later we'll continue to discuss the context of our quiz number 10. But for now, please just type in your school ID. So I want you to type your school ID and the name here in our chat. No, no. So I'll give you 2 minutes to finish submission your answers. So please check in as soon as possible and we are going to start our class. Okay, 1 more minute. So hurry up. Okay, I assume that all of you have finished submitting your school ID and name, and let's focus on quiz number 10. So quiz number 10, actually we have 12 previewed video clips, right? And there's one that cannot be played, and this is the one. So using Chicago style footnotes and endnotes, this one is out from the server. So there's no access. So if you want to know the details how to correctly use Chicago style footnotes and endnotes in your paper, you can just use the keywords and go to YouTube to type in the keywords here, and you may be able to find out some other relevant video clips for you to go through. But actually, all of these are quite sufficient for you to get a very good idea about how to cite and how to use references and what is the purpose of citation and reference. So uh, I really recommend you to go through this process, these video clips one more time, and go through all the details and really learn about how to make your citation and the references correct. Okay, let's go to the next session. So what is the basic rule of citing sources? The answer for this one is very simple. And we have students here, and let's find out who is trying to get in. So we have okay. So that would be much easier for me to maneuver around. So so what is the basic rule for citing sources? You know, the why the basic rule for citing source is very simple. You need to mark the boundaries. Well, what is the marking the boundaries mean? What does it mean? It means that in a passage, in this passage, and you specific cite, these portions belong to others. And so you dutifully put the number here. This is footnote number. Okay? But imagine this. You need to identify what is the sections you cited from other sources. So this is the section. So when we say mark the boundaries, you have to specifically identify the beginning. This is the beginning and this is the ending. And we use the period here. So this is end. So basically, this is so-called marking the boundaries. Okay, it's very important. You need to mark the boundary. Or otherwise, let me have another scenario. So again, we have a piece of article here, and this is our article. And you put a number here. You put a number here. And this is 1. But without citing, without marking the boundaries, it will be very confusing. Are you referring to starting from here to here, or some segment between this and this, or shorter one from here to here? So without marking the boundaries, your citation number here is very confusing. So basically, you need to mark the boundary just like this one. You have to put the beginning and put an ending here and also a number here. So let your readers fully understand this is the portion you cited from other sources. So be careful for this one. Of course, we will go through some of the details about how to mark the boundaries. Okay, later I will tell you. But just keep in mind, for now, it's very important to keep in mind, you need to mark the boundaries so the readers know the portions of your citations. So you do not just come out from anyone else that they say, hey, this is mine. This is mine. No, this is something from the author. Okay, so this is the basic rule of citing source. But how about the others? Follow the details? Not really, because when we say citation, you take 1 or 2 sentences of a certain passage from other authors. Your purpose is use their arguments, use their ideas to support your arguments. So it is not about the details. It's about the ideas. So the ideas is the core concerns. So if you take the ideas from other people, you need to cite, okay? And true to yourself, that is a moral appeal. It's not really. Point out the obvious is not really, because if that is so obvious, then it will become a kind of common knowledge. Then you don't need to cite. Just like the sun rises from the east, then it is obvious. You do not have to cite. It's common sense, right? So you don't have to. Okay, so let's move to the next question. So remember, it's very important to mark the boundaries. Just keep in mind. And the next question is, when should you cite a source? Well, when should you cite a source? Basically, if this is your idea, your thought of this idea, no, you don't have to. You don't have to. And if the idea you wrote on the paper is common knowledge, of course, you don't have to. And you did not think of this idea, but it is a common knowledge. You don't have to. But this one, definitely. You did not think of this idea, and it is not a common knowledge. Just as last lesson, I gave you a chart, a flow chart, right? So let me use that one more time. So basically, let's go through the process. The first one, you have to ask yourself, whose idea? Whose idea? Okay. First one, if this is yours, then of course you do not need to cite. But if this is not, right? Then there's another consideration. That is this a common knowledge? If this is yes, and of course you don't need to cite. But how about this is not common knowledge? then of course you need to cite. So basically this is the basic idea you need to have. You just to consider if this is your own idea, this one your own idea, just like this one your own idea, then you don't have to. So you go to the next, this is your idea, you don't have to. So you go to the next stage of consideration. That is, if this is common knowledge. So if you wrote on paper is common knowledge, of course you do not have to cite, right? Okay. And if you did not think about this idea, but it is common knowledge, you don't have to. But how about this one? You did not think about this idea, and it's not a common knowledge. So basically, you have to cite this one. So be careful for this one. Whatever you're trying to do, don't steal other people's idea and treat them as yours. It's a matter of plagiarism. Last week we talked about many different forms of plagiarism, right? And you cannot copy and paste. You cannot aggregate all the parts into your paper. But basically, you have to be true to yourself. If something written on the paper is yours, you proudly say, hey, this is mine. I don't need to cite. If this is not yours, then you have to give credit to the authors of the other papers. So you need to properly cite. Okay? So this is the very simple consideration. One more time. For the student just arrived, please check in your school ID and your name in our chat room. Okay, but last week we also talked about the use of common knowledge. But in a very rare occasion, you may need to cite common knowledge. That is, well, basically, if this is specific expression of common knowledge, very specific, and it is said by some people and some very important one or a very important source, and you are using a very specific expression of the common knowledge, then you need to cite. Okay, so about this, no, you can find out from encyclopedia, textbook, reference books, and so on. For example, let's talk about market. A lot of people said that market is the function of demand and supply. You don't need to cite because it appears so many places out there. Either textbooks or references book, or even Daniel can say so, or YMC will say that. So you don't have to say. So Professor Lee will appreciate, even though he is a professor in cultural studies, and he also knows market is a function of demand and supply. You don't have to. Okay? And the other one is if the fact is known by your target audience. So this related to the discipline and the context specific. For example, if I were invited by the association, the RC Political Science Association, and to give them a speech about the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Okay, so I would go to the venue of my speech. I don't have to cite too much. Why? Because they are experts in this issue, and we are political scientists. So if the fact is known by your target audience, you please don't cite. And sometimes if this is a common saying, for example, don't count your chickens before you're hatched. Everyone says this. Okay, knock on wood, or a piece of cake, or in Chinese we call 跟吃面一样,吃饭一样. So all of these are related to common sayings. So if this is a common saying, then it belongs to common knowledge. Then you don't have to, unless this is a specific expression of common knowledge. So this is very important. Please keep in mind. Okay. And let's go to the next one. So which is the most appropriate statement? This question is for you to review the major context of our video clips. The answer is, of course, is all are true. This is the most appropriate one. So let's go to how to cite. Basically, when citing less than 2 or 3 sentences, you will use in-text citation. So what is in-text citation? Let me give you one. You can just go there and give you a quick look. So this is the in-text citation. Let me enlarge this. So this is the in-text citation. I give you some idea of observation, some point of observation for this very tiny citations. The first one, there is a footnote number here, right? And the second one, we talk about mark the boundaries. So where is the beginning of the citation? Cole found that. Here is the beginning. And the bones were very fragile, and this is the ending. So see, we have a very clearly identified boundary. So your readers will know the footnote refers to the sections, this passage. So that's how we call mark the boundaries. Okay, so this is very simple. And we say that number one here, okay, and how can you put them into your footnote? Basically, number one, you put the number here. And in the margin, in the lower margin of in the bottom margin of your page, you will write an 1 and give the reference information here. So this is the so-called in-text citation. So when we say in-text citation, is that we incorporated the citations into your writing in the paragraph. And there's another one. There's another one we call cite. When citing exact words more than 4 lines, you will use block quote citations. Okay, and what does block quote citations mean? Well, it means this. Let me move to here. This is the so-called block quotation. Let's see this one. We have more than 4 lines, right? And this is what we said at the beginning, discussing genetics and behavior. Michelle writes that. So this is the marking boundary for beginning. And this is the marking boundary for ending. And be careful. You have to put the note number by the end of the block quotation. And the block quotation here has to indent and align here. So this is a block quotation, and you put the number here. So basically, all the words written here are the exact writing from the author. So this is the block quotation. Okay, and when should you use block quotation? Well, if the citations is more than 3 or 4 sentences. So in this case, you should use block quotation. But if it's about 1 or 2 sentences, what can you do? You don't need to use this. Instead, you will use this kind of citation. Something like this. So it is important to investigate possible causal pathway. So this is one. Okay, this is by author date. But if we move up a little bit, and this is the form we want to have. So Michael investigate quotation mark, possible causal pathway connecting genetic replicators and social behaviors. And this is the in-text citation. Okay, and of course, there's another kind of the when citing the ideas, but not the exact words. The previous one, the previous two, we are citing exact words. So we need to have either either we need to use the quotation mark to include the passage you want to cite, or we need to use block quotation and put a number here by the end of the block quotation to indicate this part of the citations is directly from the exact words of the original source. But how about not the exact words? Well, we can cite without quotations. Then how can we do this? Let's move here. Move here, okay, this. Let me highlight this. So this is the direct quotation. And let me copy here to here. Okay, let's see this one. You see this is the way where we use the direct quotation with the citation and a citation. So look here, we have a citation here, and we mark the beginning because we use Michelle investigate. And let me use another color. So this is the beginning, and this is the ending. But how about if we do not use the direct quotation, we use indirect quotation, then what can we do? Well, it will be something like this. Let me show you. Okay, let's see the difference between this one and this one. The citation part for this one is possible causal pathway connecting genetic replicator and social behaviors, because we have a clearly identified the beginning and the ending. So this is the record. And the words here are the exact words from the original text, original source. But how about this one? This one is a little bit different because the idea cited from the original source is this one. But this is not the exact word. These are not. These are just ideas. And the idea has the beginning because Michel suggests that indicates the beginning. And here indicates the ending. So basically, we still have the marking the boundaries. And this is the beginning, and this is the ending, and we know this is the citation. And even though we use indirect quote, we do not quote word by word. Instead, we use her idea. So this is the idea. Okay, so again, we use this is the beginning, and this is the ending. So this is one way for us to do. And let me go to this one. So basically we say we have a three different kind of citation, and this one is the block quotation we are using. Oops, sorry. So this is the block quotation. So Michelle writes that. So be careful for this one. We need to make it to be a little indent into here. Means that this section of the citation is a quote, and this is a quotation number here. Okay, so look here. Discussing genetics and behavior. Michelle writes that. So again, this is the begin here. All of here, everything here is the direct quotes, original words from the author. And this is the beginning. Oops. This is the beginning. And starting from here, and it ends with here. So look here. See, all of the three different forms of citations always have the beginning and the ending. So remember, you need to mark the boundary in order for your readers to understand the cited passage in your paper. Very important. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, for students just getting into our Google Meet, please check in the school ID and your name in our chat. Okay, so I will go to the next one. So do you have any question for this one? Okay, if not, and then I will post the link to our night group. So this is our lesson 10. Okay, so please check it out. So please check out the lesson 10. And we have only 42 students here, so strange. Hurry up. Okay, please just check it out. Check the lesson 10 out and open it in your computer, in front of your computer. Okay, now selfie local, and I would like you to make a picture of this one and also post it on our online group. I'll give you 2 minutes to finish this now. Okay, 1 more minute. Okay, So now let's take a break and please come back at 10 after 10 and we will continue our discussion on lesson 10. And in the meantime, get your EndNote platform software ready in front of your computer. So later we can compare and you can work on your EndNote. So that will be much easier for us to go through all the different process. So let's take a break and come back at 10 after 10.